This is Straight Up Mortgage with Madi, and today we will be continuing our journey through the Uniform Residential Loan Application. Today we'll be focusing on Section 2, Property Information and Purpose of Loan. So here you see that it says Subject Property Address. Now when we're talking about the subject property, we are talking about the property that we are putting the mortgage on, not to be confused with the property that the borrower lives at. Yes, there are times where the subject property and the property that the borrower lives at is one and the same, but that's not always the case, and we don't want to make that assumption, especially when it's a purchase transaction. Normally you have a person that's living in either an apartment or a previous house, so like that'll be their address, and then the subject property will be the address of the house that they are purchasing. So the subject property is listed here, and that is the star of this show. Number of units. When we're processing mortgages, we are normally processing 1 to 4 unit dwellings. It's mainly you're going to see single family residences, but there are some times where you'll see some investment properties that are duplex, triplex, fourplex, but that's what this means here. When it says number of units, it's is it a 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, or 4 unit? Now here it says legal description of subject property. You can find this on the title report, and in fact it says it here, see preliminary title. Some mortgage companies actually want to list the legal description here, which is interesting because it's a long strung out wacky address. It says something on the lines of lot 2, place 3, down the block, around the corner. It's this legal description is how the county identifies it, and you'll also see the same legal description listed on the appraisal. So that's what's here. Some companies actually list it and others do just as this is. It says see preliminary title report. Right here where it says year built, you can find the year built if you Google a house and like Zillow comes up, or one of those housing sites. You can find the year built listed there. Another place that you can look to find the year built is the appraisal. So here we have the purpose of loan, and the purpose of loan here are the options: purchase, refinance, construction permanent, and other. Mostly as a processor, you'll be seeing purchase or refinance. Sometimes there are new constructions that you'll deal with, but the main bread of the process or the processes or the purchase and the refinances. Here it says property will be primary residence, secondary residence, or investment property. Some people, they will have a house in the city, they'll have a beach house, and they might also have an investment property. There are times where a loan officer may put something in as a secondary residence when indeed it is a investment property. Investment property, the rates are normally higher than what it will be for a primary or secondary residence, but you kind of want to make sure that everything is right when it's going into underwriting, because if you try to cut corners, what just ends up happening is everyone's time ends up being wasted, and it's just not a good deal. So actually putting what the property is, whether it's a primary residence, secondary residence, or investment property. Here it says complete this line if construction or construction permanent loan. I have never used this line. I have processed some construction loans, but I feel foggy at the brain and can't really remember using this line. However, complete this line if this is a refinance loan. This is a line that you will use every day, all day. If it's a refinance, they want to know the original year that you acquired the property. They want to know the original cost of the property when you purchased it. And they want to know the amount of existing liens that you have on the property at this time. So sometimes, a person might have paid their mortgage off, or they might have a first and second mortgage, or they might have paid their mortgage down, wherever the whatever your property is at when it comes to liens. This section right here just wants you to list the amount of existing liens on the subject property. And here it says purpose of refinance. There are two types of refinances. There's cash out and there is rate and term. When you are getting a rate and term refinance, or when you're having one completed, basically you're saying that I might have gotten my house with a 5% interest rate and now rates are 2.75. I want to lower my monthly payment, my overall interest. I want to renegotiate the terms of my loan. And that's a rate and term. Or sometimes you might have started out as a 30-year fixed, and maybe you've come up on some more money 5 years down the road. You want to refi to get a shorter term to finish your mortgage as soon as possible. Those are different scenarios as to why a person will get a rate and term mortgage. The second type of refinance is a cash out refi. That is when you have a lower balance and you have room in the equity of the home to get some cash out. So I've seen where, let's say a person has $500,000 of equity in their home, and they have a job so they can afford to make payments, and they take out $200,000 of equity from their home. Maybe they want to start a business. Maybe they want to pay for school for their kids. They might want to help their kids buy a house, whatever the issue might be. If you grow equity within your home, you can then borrow money from against your property. The other type or the other purpose of a refi I've seen is like someone will say, oh, it's home improvement. And that's what this box is here for. It says describe improvements made or to be made. If it's already made and you just want to, get that money back, you would check made the improvements and put the cost of the improvements. If you're preparing to do it, you would do to be made, and you would try to estimate how much that is. Title will be held in what names? If it was just me, Madi, I'll put my name first and last. Manner in which title will be held, I would say it's just me. I will be holding this title solely. If it's husband and wife, their names will be listed here, and manner in which title will be held, it will be tenants by the entirety. There's tenants by the entirety. You'll see joint tenants. There's joint tenants with the right of survivorship. There are different ways that title can be held. You'll find out the way that they choose to have it held by looking at the title commitment, and the information that is on the title commitment needs to be here. It should match. Estate will be held in fee simple. It's always fee simple. I believe if it's leasehold, it's probably some sort of commercial type loan, but to keep it simple, it's always gonna be fee simple if you're working at just a regular mortgage company processing mortgages for residential homes. The last thing here is the source of the down payment. If this is a purchase, you want to say checking and savings. It could be checking, savings, and a gift, depending upon what your scenario is or what your story is. If it's a refinance, if it's a rate and term and you have to bring cash to closing, it's going to be checking and savings as well. However, if it's a cash out refi, it's going to be equity from the subject property, right? Because you're not really making a down payment if you're cashing the money out. You're taking equity away from the subject property. So this was section 2 of our uniform residential loan application. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.